Hello everyone, welcome back. This is going to be my April wrap up. I am excited to chat about these books. I had another really great reading month. Even though I got sick and I didn't post a ton of videos kind of in the last 2 months, I have been reading a lot. So I am very excited to share these books. I'll have all of the books written down below with their authors, so if you want to look them up on Goodreads or something, feel free to do that. I'll also link corresponding videos down below where I talked about these books in detail if I have a reading blog for them. But yeah, we'll just get started. So first of all, I listened to the audiobook of A Novel Proposal by Denise Hunter, and I was pleasantly surprised by this book. In general, I haven't really enjoyed Denise Hunter. I don't always love Denise Hunter's characters and like how their behavior plays out. This book is it's one of the more secular books of hers, meaning the faith wasn't a super big aspect. I don't even remember much faith standing out about it, to be honest. But it was a totally clean, really sweet romance. So I really would recommend it. It was actually a very fun book. And it is fairly similar to Beach Read by Emily Henry, but it's just a clean version. And I really enjoyed the audiobook. It was good. I listened to this on like a really long drive that I had, and it was very entertaining. Like I wanted to listen to it like as much as I could. So this follows a woman who is an author. She writes like Western action books, but they're not selling, and her publisher is like, where they're gonna drop you or you need to write a romance book. And she is like, I've never been in love. I don't know anything about romance. How am I gonna do this? So her friend offers her like beach house as like a writing retreat place. So she goes there and it's a duplex. And so the person in the other side of the duplex is a dude, and they butt heads at first, but of course there's sparks that fly. And it was really sweet. There's also a bit of a mystery in this book. So overall, I really enjoyed it. And if this is Denise Hunter's like new kind of style of writing and story, then I could potentially like her books again. So yeah, I highly recommend this. I think it's a new release from this year. My library just happened to have the audiobook, so I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot, and I ended up loving it. So yeah, I gave that 4 stars. Okay, then I read another Rachel Fordham. She is quickly becoming like just a sweet author that I really enjoy reading books from. So I read A Life Once Dreamed by this author, and technically you could consider this kind of like book 1 in maybe a companion duology, because I read Where the Road Bends a couple months ago and loved it. Like that was 5 stars. This book is 4 stars. There's a character in A Life Once Dreamed that's also in Where the Road Bends, so there's like a connection there. It was really sweet to see him again. This book follows a woman who is a teacher in this town, and she has to stay single to be a teacher, and she has kind of a secret about her that she has been keeping from the town. And anyways, there's like a fire that happens, and she ends up saving this baby, and she wants to like keep it and take care of it, but the town is like, you can't be a teacher if you keep this baby. And so a lot of men are like, oh, I'll marry you, and it's like, okay. But yeah, so she does have this one guy who is kind of helping her, and they do have a friendship, but she doesn't want to get married, and he's like, why not? And so you do find out stuff about her, and then also this baby that they have. So yeah, it was a really sweet story, a really strong storyline of like how Jesus is your new identity, and you are not what your birth was, and you can always like change and become a better person despite your circumstances. So it was a really good message that way, and I really enjoyed it. I just really like Rachel Fordham's writing, so I'm excited to keep reading her books, and yeah, I'd recommend this one. Then I tried to read The Flatshare by Beth O'Leary, and I mean, I did read it, but I gave it 2 stars. I didn't like the writing, first of all. So it alternates perspectives. You get the girl's perspective and the guy's perspective, and I didn't like the guy's perspective. The way it was written it felt like a computer. It was really weird. Like there was no quotations, and it was all like, it would be the dude's name and then a colon and then what he says, and then whoever he's talking to, their name, a colon, and what they say. And it just, I guess you could say it was like a text message kind of thing, but not in a like nice way to read. I didn't enjoy it. So anyways, that was a main like reason why I didn't like it. And then it wasn't clean language wise or bedroom wise. So overall, I just didn't really like it, but you probably know what this is about. It follows these two characters who live in the same apartment and like sleep in the same bed. But he has a night shift, she has a day shift. They never end up seeing each other. So they communicate through Post-it notes. And they end up like caring about each other through that, and then becoming something more, of course. But yeah, just the overall execution of the story, I didn't enjoy it, and I probably won't read any more of Beth O'Leary's books. They do intrigue me. I like the look of them and the sound of them, but then if this is like what they actually are, I'm like, okay, I'm good. Then I read The Temporary Roomie by Sarah Adams, and I enjoyed this one. I gave it 3.5 out of 5. It was just a little over the top. Like, it was very dramatic, and the way the characters like treated each other, I don't know, like, technically this is book 2. The first book was The Off Limits Rule, which also was kind of like dramatic and whatever, like not her best writing. I think these are her first books, so she's definitely improved since she's become traditionally published. I think these are self-published. So yeah, you follow this girl who is pregnant and she is not with the father and she has nowhere to stay. So her best friend's brother lets her move in with him. He is a doctor. He's actually an OBGYN, so he like knows how to help a woman, but she's like does not want anything to do with him. She doesn't like him. She's very rude to him, and I didn't like her attitude, but he's like rude back. They had a very like almost toxic way of communicating. It was definitely lighthearted, but like not great. I don't remember if there was any language. There may have been a little bit, but it was totally clean. They did talk about doing it, but they never did. And they would like kiss a little bit, but it wouldn't go very far because they'd either get interrupted or whatever. They definitely had a lot of chemistry. Like the way Sarah Adams writes chemistry is very well done. It doesn't feel, I don't know, inappropriate for me to be reading, but it still gets the message across. Somehow she is able to do that. So I kind of, everything that I said there, it was good enough that I kept reading. Oh, also because I listened to the audiobook and she had a female narrating the girl and a male narrating the guy, and that was very enjoyable. I've never experienced that before, and I really enjoyed it. The guy narrator was really good. The girl narrator wasn't as good, but also maybe because I found her annoying, like the actual character she was reading about. So anyway. Okay, then I read The Words We Lost by Nicole Deese. This was a 5-star prediction. I read this for my reading challenge. It wasn't 5 stars. I gave it 4 stars. It had a very, like, I guess the tone was very grief-stricken. So it was not a lighthearted book, in my opinion. Like, it was kind of a downer, to be honest. So that's why it's not 5 stars. But the writing of it and the way Nicole Deese like wove these storylines together was very, very well done, in my opinion. So definitely a solid 4-star. But I don't love grief stories, I guess. Like I don't connect with them. I've been through grief, but I don't want to read about it, you know? So anyways, but you've probably all heard what this is about. It does kind of have alternating timelines because you'll follow the present timeline, and then you're also kind of reading the manuscript of this girl who passed away, but it's like a retelling of her life. So it's like you're reading 2 stories at the same time, and they do alternate chapters. So definitely a lot of grief in here. A second chance romance, a little bit of mystery, a little bit of backstabbing. And yeah, overall, like I liked the characters. I definitely want to read more books in this world. I think this is like the first book in maybe a series. I don't know. On Goodreads, it looks like it is. So I'll definitely be continuing. The faith in here was great. But yeah, just like a grief story. I didn't find that there was enough lighthearted moments to like make it nice. But thank you to the publisher for an advanced review copy because I did read it a little bit early before it came out, and I'm thankful to be able to do that. So then I made another video reading booktubers' favorite books, Christian booktubers' favorite books, and I picked 3 more of my friends to read like. And the first one was Lou from Christian Faith and Fiction. I'll link her down below. Unfortunately, I did DNF both books that I chose for her, so that was too bad. I'll link the video down below. You can watch that. I don't need to rehash it here. So in between books for that video, I did read an Elegant Facade by Kristi Hunter. This is book 2 to the Hawthorne something series. The first book was A Noble Masquerade, which is here. I read this for one of those read like a Christian booktuber and absolutely loved it. Also absolutely loved this second one. This author, okay? The humor in these books is so good. It's just like funny situations that aren't cheesy, that make sense why they're happening, but they're very funny. So that was really nice to read about. So An Elegant Facade follows the younger sister of this girl in the first book. And what I loved in this book, you get chapters from this book in the girl's perspective and in the other guy's perspective. I loved it. I love when I get like the same scene but from someone else's perspective. I love it. I could read books like that all the time because I would read like a chapter in An Elegant Facade and then read it the same like scene in this book to like remember what like this girl was thinking. It was so good. I really enjoyed doing that. So anyways, it's not like that the whole time because then this book ends, those scenes end, and then you like carry on. So the romance for this girl, I was already on that team. Like in this book, you could just tell there was something going on and I liked it a lot. And I also thought it was interesting. I'm pretty sure, so the girl's name is Georgina, I think, Georgiana, something George. And oh, that's kind of a spoiler though. Okay, this girl, Georgina, she has an ailment and I really wasn't sure what it was, but I also might be just dumb. So I won't say what it is because maybe it is supposed to be a mystery because you don't know right away and I don't think the back tells you. So yeah. But I thought that was really interesting because to see a noble woman struggling with this, I've never read a book like that before and it really brought a new perspective and I really appreciated it. So that was so interesting to see how she made it work for her life. Yeah, I overall, I truly loved this book and I think this whole series is going to be a 5-star series for me. I'm really excited to keep reading. There's 4 books and I feel like I need to read everything that Kristi Ann Hunter writes now. And I really want to own these books. Aren't they beautiful? Like, I just love kind of the like light flower look. Like there's kind of flowers along the spine right here too. Like I really love it. These are just my aesthetic, it seems. So yeah, read that book and I loved it and that felt really good. I also did finally finish 40 Days Through the Bible. This is like made by the Proverbs 31 ministry team that Lisa Turkhurst started. This was a gift from Amanda, from Book Lover Amanda. Thank you so much. This was really comprehensive. Like it truly is through the Bible. So each week you're kind of working on a different theme or section of the Bible, but you do start in the Old Testament and you work towards the New Testament, and the last week is in Revelation. So yeah, it was very thorough. Definitely like lots of cool, like it would have sometimes like whole pages of, these are like the generations through the line of David to Jesus. There'd be like a timeline as well for each like section. So it was really good. There's also like areas to write. So they would like ask you questions and you could write answers and they'd have like all pages like this. They had prayer sections. Like if you are new to the Bible, I feel like this would be really great. Take your time with it because each day was quite long. So I didn't do each day in one day. So I took way longer than 40 days to do this. Definitely just like a great study to get more familiar with the Bible and everything in it. So yeah, thank you again, Amanda, for that. Definitely recommend this, you guys. She got it on Amazon, so check out Amazon for this. Okay, then I read the next book for my Reading Christian Booktubers Favorite Books video, Dangerous Beauty by Melissa Koslin. I loved this book so much. Again, watch the video, you can see my true reactions, but this book was fantastically written. Like, if you can handle the subject matter, truly this book was so well done. Okay, it's a human trafficking storyline, and it's fairly intense. It definitely like talks about a woman's experience being stuck in this, and just it has like pretty like gross men in it, and the things that they say, it's just very demeaning, and it really sucks that this is a thing. But it is real, and I truly appreciated reading it. But you're following this one girl who, at the very beginning, you're following her on the run. She has escaped her captors, and she is Mexican, but they brought her over the border, and she's in America now. So she like runs to this gas station and locks herself in the bathroom. And then you also see this guy who is just getting a bottle of water in the gas station, and he hears this woman, and you find out like there's a huge mystery around who he is and what he's up to. But he ends up helping her. He's like, I can help you. Just, can you trust me? And somehow she does. And he calls the police for her. He takes down the two guys that were chasing her. And he's like, the only way I can like keep you safe, because she knows if she goes back to Mexico, she'll just be captured again. He's like, we're gonna have to get married so that you can stay in America legally and I can protect you. And she agrees to it. And that is the first chapter. And you follow their relationship. You follow what he's doing, what she's doing. I loved the like close reading of her character development and her process of like dealing with this trauma, of her getting to know this guy who rescued her. And it was just brilliant. I loved it. And I can't wait to read more from this author. I'm amazed. So amazing. I read this for one of Katie's favorite books from Paperbacks and Ponytails. I'll link her down below. Loved this book. So yeah, definitely recommend it. I will be buying a copy for myself because wow, I could totally read this again, because there is like a mystery of like who this like big head dude is of this human trafficking circle. And I just thought the way, like, again, all the little connections, so well done. And I was along for the ride. I loved it. Okay, and the last book for that video was The Tomb by Stephanie Landsem. I read this for Stacy from Wandering with Stacy, and I gave this 3 stars. I really loved the beginning. I was super into it, and I was like, oh, nice. This feels like at least a 4-star. But I think the way it progressed and just like the behavior of Martha in particular just didn't work for me. I wasn't comfortable with it because of reasons. So basically this is a retelling of Mary, Martha, and Lazarus and Jesus, and the whole story of Lazarus dying and Jesus bringing him back to life. You follow that story, but it's mainly from Martha's perspective. And it started out so fascinating because, well, first of all, I had to suspend from the beginning. It veers off from the Bible. Like almost everything in here is not in the Bible. So, and I mean, I expected that, but the things that weren't in the Bible felt very like too far for me to believe it. Sure, they could have happened, but it just was like, why you gotta do Martha dirty like that? Like, that sucks. But the way it was told, like, if these were different characters, then, like, especially the first little bit, I was, like, so invested. But I'm like, but this is Martha. Like, I'm not okay with this. She can't do this stuff. So, yeah, Martha's a part of a scandal, and she's keeping it a secret. And you don't see much of Mary in this book. You see a little bit of Lazarus, but I would have wanted to see more of him. And you see a little bit of Jesus, but I would have wanted to see more of him. I wanted to see more of their relationship dynamics. It's mainly about Martha and her secret and her relationships with the people in her town and this guy who wants to marry her. And yeah. Oh, and then there's a couple like side chapters in the perspective of a different guy. And again, I was like, that's convenient, you know? Like, just, I'm like, no way. There's just no way. So it's just too unbelievable for me. I hope that makes sense without me, like, spoiling it, I guess. I have heard the other books in this little companion trilogy are really good, The Well and the Thief, but I don't have them and my library doesn't have them. So this is it for me, and I am just okay with it. So, yeah. All right, then I read a biography, an autobiography by Matthew Perry called Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing. I just randomly checked this out from the library. I kind of have been on a kick of rewatching some Friends episodes, and I knew that he had a book out, and I was like, I actually am interested now. Because when it first came out, I was gonna read it, and then I was like, no, because I actually heard a lot of mixed things about this book from my friends who have read it, or just people I follow. I'm gonna get another notification, I already know, but that's okay. So this book, the thing that made it so readable for me was the writing. I really loved the writing. If he actually wrote this himself, he's a good writer. And I guess it makes sense because he writes like scripts and screenplays all the time, so that makes sense. But I was captivated by this book, and it helped because I had fresh in my mind what his behavior and character was like on Friends, and then I have heard the rumors, and I've seen things about him. I've never super made note of them, but I do actually love his performance on 17 Again with Zac Efron. Love that movie, and I always knew about him, but I didn't know much. But he goes into very intense details about his life, starting from babyhood to now, and just brutally honest. And I don't think there is any other way he could have done it because of what he's been through. He had to be that detailed and that honest. And I'm sure that people in his life are uncomfortable with the world knowing what happened. But at the same time, I just appreciated it, and I should silence that. So this book deals very heavily with addiction. Matthew Perry has been an addict kind of his whole life with alcohol and drugs. And I just can't even imagine. But I could tell from the beginning, even I think there was a prologue, his writing, I just was like, it was like he was talking to me. And I didn't listen to the audiobook. I know that he reads the audiobook. I kind of am glad I didn't listen to it because he does drop the F word a lot. So he does use the F word a lot. I'll just say that. That's the only swear word I can remember though. But of course it's the main one. But I don't know. It just felt like such a true depiction of who he is. It's like the story of his life. But what made it so incredible, he knows God. And he shared his experiences with the presence of God. And it brought me to tears because I was and he even says why am I alive? I should be dead. He has had several near-death experiences with his addiction, and he always makes it through. And he's like, I truly believe that God has saved me and put me on this planet to help other addicts get sober. And it is the joy of my life to help addicts get sober. And I'm just blown away. I loved it. I really did. I did give it 4 stars instead of 5 because he kind of lost me in some spots. He repeated a couple stories, but just talking about a different thing, but not next to each other. So I was like, wait, didn't this already happen? So the timeline was kind of fuzzy sometimes. I feel like the first half was really straightforward and followed a progression. And then, just the amount of language that was in it was very jarring sometimes. But I just respect this man, and I hope that, I don't know, that he just keeps on holding on to God and stay sober himself. I hope that he can, and that this is it. No more relapses. But anyway, I was encouraged by it. It actually encouraged my faith to read this, and I liked it a lot. So there you go. And then the last book that I did read, I finished it on the last day of the month, is called Murmur in the Mudcaves by Kathleen Denley. And this was kindly sent to me by her publicist or publisher, I'm not sure. But yeah, I was given an early copy to review. This does come out in May, and this is a historical romance fiction book. This is technically book 4, but I guess they're companion books because I didn't feel like I missed anything. I mean, maybe I did a little bit, but it was a complete story in itself, so that's fine. It's also kind of complicated to explain, so I'm gonna do my best here. I did write a pretty thorough review on Goodreads, so check my Goodreads if you want to see that. This follows a girl named Biddy who was adopted. Her father ran away, her mother passed away, and her father ran away with Biddy's 2 older siblings. And so she was left and adopted by this family, and she's grown up with them, and she hasn't seen her siblings for like 18 years. But then she randomly gets this letter from her sister saying, there's been a disaster, I need money, can you send money? Of course. And she's like, you know what, I'm gonna go see her. Like, sure, I'll bring money, but I'm gonna go see her. So she and her best friend and her father go and travel to where the sister is, and something happens to the dad. He has to get left behind. So the 2 women go and find her sister, and her sister's name is Ginny. And she is a hard, calloused, negative woman. And she is like, what are you doing here? Like, I just wanted money. And they're like, we have to help you, because she's on this like land that is completely decimated. Like, it was totally overrun, and she's got nothing, and she's just like living off the land. So the sister is like, I want to help you. I'm going to stay here and help you. And she's like, you shouldn't, and whatever. And then there's this guy who was hired to be the cook of this land before it got destroyed. And he shows up and he's like, what's going on? And he's like, I can't leave 3 women here, so I'll stay and take care of you. And that's kind of how that goes. So that it's the 4 of them on this land. There is a romance between Biddy and the dude. The dude's name is Gideon, and they were really cute together. He has a little secret. It seems like he struggles with migraines, but it's called, like, he's visually impaired, but he like gets sick from it and he can't see, and it seems like a migraine to me, but what do I know? And then you just follow them, like, living on this land, trying to survive. There's like different things that happen to them. It's set in Southern California. And yeah, overall, like, I gave it 3 stars. It was definitely entertaining, but I did feel like I wanted to see more scenes of like connection between Biddy and Gideon. And then also Ginny's character was so annoying because she was so rude, so negative, and maybe that's a realistic thing, but reading about it is not enjoyable. And she was just rude to everyone. Like, and she didn't trust anyone. She was so stubborn. Biddy was stubborn too. And I just was like, really, Ginny? Get off this page right now. Loved Lucy. She was like the friend of Biddy that came. And then this guy named Clive shows up as well, and he was very nice. And yeah, like, overall, definitely a story of figuring out this relationship dynamic, coming to terms with your own personal ailments and surrendering to God. This is a Christian book, so there is faith in it. Good if you like historical. I think I wanted more romance, to be honest, for me to like it, and less annoying Jenny. So yeah, but thank you to the author and the publisher for letting me read this early. So there you go. That is everything that I read in this month. So overall, like, I read a lot of books and it feels good. I did a lot of reading. I was very sick in this month, but I feel better. And I'm getting my filming mojo back. I definitely lost it for a bit there, but I feel it coming back. So I think I'm gonna be okay. But yeah, it's been tough trying to get videos out. So please be patient and bear with me, and I will film as much as I can very soon. Yeah, but thank you for watching, you guys. I'm excited for May. May is gonna be such a fun reading month as well. I feel like I'm just in this reading zone. So it's a good time. So again, thank you for watching, you guys. I will link everything down below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.